Welcome. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to be changing some couplers, but I'm going to be changing out to the Kadee couplers with the conversion kit. It's the Kadee 505 conversion coupler kit that will replace the long couplers on an old Rivarossi six-wheel truck. So let's get started. What we have here is a whole assortment of goodies, among which are the tools that will be used in this project. What we've got here, let's get ourselves situated now. We've got a little assortment of Dremel bits and some T-pins and whatnot. The old hobby knife, the X-Acto knife. A flat jeweler's file, hobby file. We have a four-sided hobby file. I'll bring this up to the camera here. Maybe we can see this. Yeah, this is four-sided, okay? And this will get into some tight areas where I need to attain a flat filing surface. We've also got some of the Kadee greasem, number 231 greasem. We have various small flathead screwdrivers, panhead screwdrivers, a small pin vise, a sprue cutter. We have my Leatherman to assist in turning the screwdrivers because these couplers are pretty tight. And we have my, whoops, as you can tell, my magnetic bowl. I love this thing, but it sure can become a pain in the behind when you're looking for little items that get lost. And you must keep it away from your metal tools, okay? It picks everything up. It picks up everything, and I mean everything. All right. Now, to get started, we need to come in a little closer, and I need to adjust the field of focus on this puppy here. There we go. Now I can control the focus manually. All right. Some other items we've got are gentle grips forceps, long forceps. And I use a regular ordinary knife for opening up the packages. And we have a little pliers here to help us pull the wheels off the car. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up a little bag of the Kadee 505 coupler conversion bolster. This is for six-wheel passenger trucks, as it says here on the label. And I'm just going to take the knife and go into the top of the flap and run it along the top side of the envelope, like so. And we're going to open her up. All right. Try not to catch anything or cut myself, which is a dilly of a thing I do. They have an extremely detailed instruction booklet. The first thing I'm going to do is pour everything into the magnetic bowl. This will hold springs, the metal couplers. It'll hold the little tiny screws that are part of this project. And there we go, pick up metal tools again. You can see all the little doodads in here. Put my hand on the back to keep it from attaching to anything again. Let's give a little more light here. There we go. You can see everything that's here, okay? All right. Now, for the car. Car is a Rivarossi, New York Central. It's an old heavyweight style car. And it has these coupler on it. These are McHenry couplers. And these were working good for a while, but they are plastic, and even though they have a spring, the plastic tends to wear out and break. And it's not real conducive to holding as a train is going around a track. So the first thing I'm going to do is gently pry the entire truck off the body of the car. And the way to do that, you can do it. There's several ways you can do this. You can simply lock your finger and thumb under the coupler like so, and lift. And the pin, it's just a simple pin attachment, and the pin lets go. There's the pin attachment right there. See that? Right there. Okay. Next thing we do, we'll put the car in a cradle, foam cradle, which is off to the side here, off to the back of the work area here. And now what we're going to do is get in nice and close to see what's happening as I work on this project here. All right, here we go. Okay. The first thing to do with these couplers, you simply pull them out. They're simply a little clip-on style. All right? And just put that aside. That will not be used any longer. Now, in order to get the truck to lay flat, all right, in order to get the truck to lay flat, we need to remove the wheels. Best way to do this, I simply grab the metals. The wheels are metal. I'll show this in a minute. There's a plastic sleeve over the axle of the wheel. So what I do is I grab the wheel set by the axle and pry it up and out of the truck. Bring the metal tray over, and here's proof positive that these are metal. That's a metal wheel. Now I'm going to take the center wheel set out. Put it in the bowl. Now the pin, I'm simply going to remove the pin. It's plastic. I'm just going to set that in the bowl. We now have the truck set flat on my work surface, which will make it easier to conduct this project. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get my sprue cutter. I'm going to get in here. You need to remove this post. This post needs to be removed right here. This is the locking post for the McHenry coupler. All right, this is what it clips onto this. If you were replacing the old horn hook couplers with a McHenry, it would be a very simple matter to run this in, okay, and clip it. And to take it out, pull and unclip it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this little post right here. I'm going to get in with the sprue cutter, lay it flat on the surface on each side of the post, cutting blades, and I'm going to snip that away. I put my hand over it just to keep it from flying up into the camera. Now, the structure of the front of the front of the truck here needs to be altered as well. There is a little step, if you will. The width will not accommodate the new bolster. It's too narrow. As you can see, it's far too narrow. So this must be removed here. I simply snip here Snip on the other side. Break that free, and then I lift it away. Okay. Now, I take my flat file, hobby file, and I run it, and I flatten out this area, the seating area for the new replacement coupler bolster. And we go around the front, make sure we get all this excess off. Now this four-sided file here, it's small enough to allow me to get in and to file. I get in right here, and I file along the wall, the upright wall of the bolster, and simply flatten it and widen it ever so slightly. We need to allow the bolster to fit in here. Alright, this little bit of filing is done. Next bit of filing is the base of this post. That needs to be filed down flat as well. So I lay it on the work surface and file it. You want to apply downward pressure to the post. And you go by feel. That can come down a little bit more. This is the easy part, by the way. Oh, from time to time it would be good for you to clean out your file of any plastic shavings. It'll allow it to work much, much better. There we go. Again, we'll get this seating here. Make sure this is all good. The next thing to do is to detach the coupler box and bolster top from the little sprue that they're attached to. So it's one cut. Two. And that's gone. Take the file, even it up. Just make it neat, just to make it neat. Serves no other purpose than to neaten it up. Now, for some reason there's all this structure here, this superstructure on this pad, this plastic pad. All these lines need to be taken down. You can file them, and or what I like to do, I like to snip them first with a sprue cutter. I get right down to the top of the plastic and cut until it's gone. Same thing with all these little pieces. Take them off. I just start clipping. You lay this right on the top of the plastic. Move it along like so. Now all these little pieces are effectively gone. The next thing to do is to remove this rise here in the center. You can see that right there. And again, I'm going to use the sprue cutter. I'm going to go along. I'm just going to snip it. It's like trimming a really nasty toenail or fingernail. There we go. And here we go. Now we file the rest of it down. Okay? This needs to be taken down flat. Just file it. You want to file it until you see no more of the outline of the little risers that were here. These little lines. You want this filed completely down. Takes a little doing to hold it in place, especially on camera. But here we go. I mean, I did 4 of these just last night, so for 2 cars. Yeah, well, after you get one done, you need to do a second one for the other side. Car has 2 ends. You need 2 of these. All right, now, all this is gone. Now we're going to take the cover. I'm going to lay that down. We're going to take one of these centering devices and plop it in place here like so. All right. Right over the pin. Just getting it centered. Now we take a coupler. Now this is being assembled upside down. All right, this is being assembled upside down. But now we take the coupler and we put it over the pin. All right. I'm just going to put the side aside just for a moment. I'm going to check the fit of the new bolster into. Oh, that's upside down. I'm going to check the fit into the pocket of the truck, and that fits real well. Now before I go any further with it, I've done a couple of them, but I'm going to show you real quick how to get your size, or how to get the length that you want. You've got your coupler in the bolster, which is an extender. Okay. Take one of the other ones, line it up side by side, and you can see where the coupler needs to be. Okay. Another way, of course, is to use a ruler, determine the length, and I'll do this in millimeters, but I'll determine the length, how far off this comes to the end of, I call it the thumb. If this is a hand, if the coupler is a hand, here are the fingers and this is the thumb. So from the body of the truck to the thumb, I get 8 millimeters. Okay, and that's a good rule of thumb, is you know you've got the right one when the setting from here to the end of the coupler is 8 millimeters. Also, there's a little mark here on the bottom, a little circle. I don't know how well you can see this, but there's a little circle right here. Okay, when that has about a millimeter distance between the end of the circle and the front of the bolster here, you know you're in the right place. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hobby knife, my X-Acto knife. I'm going to mark a little hole. I'm just going to press the tip, and I'm going to turn it like so, just to make an indication hole where I'm going to want to drill my hole. Okay, now you can see the mark of the hole right here. Alright, I'm going to take my little drill set here. We'll put it into that hole. And I'm going to drill through the top plate of the truck. And I like to use a pin vise for this because it's slow. And those of us who drill into plastic frequently enough know that if you drill too fast, you melt the plastic. If you melt the plastic, it'll create a larger than needed hole. Now that hole is right there. I'm going to do one more thing to bring it up to size for these self-tapping screws. I don't have quite the right number drill to do this with, so I'm going to take a T-pin, an ordinary T-pin. I'm going to put it into the hole. I'm going to work that through. Work this through, just back and forth, back and forth. Just a twisting motion back and forth till we get it through. And now we've got the hole at the correct size. Right there. The little hole. It's in the hole. Okay, the next thing to do is to assemble. We have to say hello to our little friend and assemble it. Let me come down a little closer here. All right. There we, oh, nice. There we are. And being in focus is nicer still. All right. And we're going to take our little cover and put it in place on top of the coupler box. Easier said than done. Thank you. All right. Now we take one of the little screws provided with the coupler conversion kit. All right, they include this for you. And we're going to hope that this stays in the screwdriver. I'm going to get this in the hole. Let's try it again. Right in the hole. And we're going to screw this down. Now, I usually like to hold the coupler and bolster in place with one finger while turning the screwdriver with the others. Problem with big fingers is it causes things to slip around. So what I also do, first of all, I need to make sure that this is laying flat onto itself. So with this little pliers, I will squeeze the box and the cover together. I will fetch my handy dandy Leatherman pliers. I'm going to complete a little more turning of the screw here, like so. Now this goes in tight. All right, this is a very tight situation here. Okay. What I'm going to do is set the screwdriver into the screw. I'm going to hold it down with my middle finger. I'm going to hold the cover in place with my middle finger. Grab the screwdriver with my thumb and forefinger and bring in the Leatherman and start turning the screw. Like I said, it's tight. It's tight in there. The screw going through the plastic. It's a self-tapping screw, but it is tight. I don't, my fingers don't function well with these little tiny tools. I mean, if I had a nice big handle that I could get a good grip on, it would be so much nicer. But I work it the way I need to work it. And right here again, put the screwdriver in the slot of the screw. Hold this down like so. Grab hold. And I turn it until it won't turn anymore. There we are. Now check it. All right, there's still some play in there. Here, you can see this. Still has some play. All right, so we're going to tighten it down some more. A little more. When it finally stops, it stops. That means it's held in tight. All right. But as luck would have it, I do need to. Okay, I think this is pretty tight right here. Just grab it with the pliers and give it a little squeeze here real quick. All I'm doing now is I'm simply ensuring that this is going to be as tight as possible. And I'll go back down to the surface here, and again set the screwdriver in, hold everything down, and using the Leatherman, I'm going to grab the screwdriver and turn the screw. All right, that's it. That's nice and tight. Okay, at this point I take a little grease-em and we go right into the coupler pocket. Give a little squeeze. And distribute some of the graphite into the pocket. And as you can see, we have a real nice centering effect on this coupler. Now, put everything into place in the truck. We set our bolster into place properly. You can see that. Now it's time for another little screw. Again, I'm going to rub the, I'll do this here on camera. I simply take the screwdriver and I rub it on the surface of the metal. And it scratches it, it doesn't matter. But then I pick up the screw rather, with the screwdriver. And the slight little magnetism helps it hold in place. Now, let me get this in a little closer here. There we go. Beautiful. I will situate this, make sure it's straight on the screwdriver, and then down into the hole it goes. Make sure this is set where it needs to be. Now we screw this down. This is not as anywhere near as difficult as doing the coupler pocket to this. It's just, and you make it nice and tight. This does not move now. Also, you can always use a little drop of CA glue here, okay, or styrene cement like the Fowler professional cement. Okay. Now it is a simple matter of putting the pin back through the center of the truck and reattaching the wheel set. Push into one hole, the hole on one side, press it down, push it into the truck on the other, make sure it's free rolling. Now for the front wheel. Into the hole, line it up for the socket, press it down, whee! Okay, that's it. That is it. That, as they say, is that. The next thing to do is to put it back in place on the car. And because this is a fairly flat surface here, not a lot of detail, nothing really is going to be broken. I've got it right on my flat rubber cutting mat. I'm simply going to take it, line up the pin with the socket, push it in. She is attached. And now you can see, because I've done this before, there's a way to line this up to make sure it swings free. You want to make sure it swings free. It's not binding. All right, like so. Let's get this set here again. And here we have it. Okay, a Kadee coupler, the 505 Kadee coupler conversion kit. And here's the old McHenry coupler on the other truck, and I'll be doing that conversion off camera, and then you'll see the entire car all together. All right then, here we are. The first truck that was converted to the Kadee 505 coupler, and the second truck that was done off camera. I'm just going to show you here. I'm lifting up the back end of the car, and we're simply going to click these guys together. And nothing was holding that other coupler, of the other coupler. I just was able to back into it. That's how fantastic the Kadee couplers work. Okay, I'm going to take this, just going to lift it off. Going to put this boy into position here. Get his coupler right over the hole. It's in the hole. It's in the hole. All right, there we go. Now we have a beautiful, beautifully coupled New York Central heavyweight Rivarossi passenger car. This, in fact, is a dining car, and I'll be doing some interior detailing on this, and that'll be its own separate video, because what I intend to do is going to be pretty sweet. I'm going to take the top off. Let's see if I can give a real quick preview of that. I'm going to pop the top on this car. I'm simply pushing in the little tabs here on the bottom. There are little tabs. I did another video on pulling these things off. And since then I've discovered that if you simply work the tabs, the roof will loosen without the use of a knife or a wedge under the roof line of any sort. Hey, you know, live and learn. This, and now this, and now off comes the roof. And the innards come with it. Okay. Sweet. Alrighty. And the roof, again, as I said in the other video I did about doing the interiors of these things, the roof and the glass section are basically one. They are glued together, and I'm not looking to pull these apart because I don't know if they can be pulled apart without breaking everything else. Now, the interior of this car is pretty fascinating, all right? It has a cook area, a kitchen, if you will, right here. What I'm going to do for this, I'm going to detail this out. I'm going to purchase a kitchen set. There's an actual kitchen set. It has a sink, stove, oven, the whole 9 yards, icebox and all. And I'm going to be getting a set of Prizer cooks, which come with a set of pots and pans and things. And I'll have an entire kitchen staff in the kitchen area. For the passenger dining area, it's going to be a simple matter to paint the tables and probably the chairs. I guess I'm going to try that. But then additionally, the tables, let me take this section out. The tables will then have little tablecloths draped over them. I saw this in an article. I don't know where I saw it or what magazine, but they said to use tissue paper and Elmer's glue. Now, tissue paper will drive me completely bat crap crazy, so I'm not going to use tissue paper. I'm going to use instead a product called Silk Span. It's a product used in sewing. It's a heavier fibered paper product. If you saturate that with glue, you can cut little shapes for tablecloths, and you can then drape the tablecloths onto the table and make them look pretty darn realistic. And that will be done after the seats are painted and the floor is colored as well. I don't know what colors I'll use. Probably going to use Vallejo paints mahogany, and I'm going to try the airbrush technique for the seats. But again, like all these parts, they pop right back in. The little holes line up with little pegs on the inside, and then the top simply goes down as one unit piece and clips back into place all the way around. All the way around. But that's how, that and some additional LED lighting on the inside is how you can turn these old cars, which are beautiful in my opinion, into something workable. Of course, you know, I will add some weathering to the outside and to the trucks, which are extraordinarily detailed. I mean, if you look at these trucks, you can see the springs. I mean, there's an incredible amount of detail in the molding on these trucks. I mean, just to look at it, it's just incredible. You see the springs here, right here, okay, and here. It's just so well made, such great detail. The rivets, Laser Wrought Company, I believe is their name. They've got little acrylic windows for some of the various lines, and New York Central is one of the lines. And the windows, they have the little, the New York Central logo on them, and that's what you use on the lavatories facilities in the cars, the passenger cars, the coaches and whatnot. And I believe this here is a lavatory area, and it's just vented, because let's face it, you don't need a window, but you do need vents. But anyway, here we are. Again, this is the Kadee 505 coupler conversion kit, the bolsters, for the 6-wheel passenger cars. And I'll show them in action in a moment. Okay, here come the New York Central heavyweight Pullman cars with the new Kadee couplers. Looks like they're doing pretty darn good to me. And there they go. Coming past the train yard. Coming past the big old train yard. Coming around the front. You'll be coming around the table when they come. They'll be coming around the table when they come. That's enough of that nonsense. Love my Broadway Limited chugging locomotives, baby. Now I'm going to throw these up to speed just to see how nice these couplers hold the cars together. When this happened last night, the McHenry couplers let go. And in fact, I found a spring on the table this morning. Just a little while ago when I was cleaning up. There was in fact a spring on the table. A spring, a terrible thing. That's the last thing you want to see when you're working with couplers. Here we go. There we go. And they're holding on. I don't have any doubt. Kadee couplers have never let me down. What's that? I'd say the test was a huge success.